Hey guys, here are some feel good movies and series you can watch that can also have an impact on your spiritual life as well. We'll be counting down the top 5 movies which were produced over the years that made an impact on the lives of those who have watched it. At number 5, we have The Freshman Year. This is a story of CJ, who is a preacher's son and a basketball player. His path intertwines with Marcella, a cheerleader and the first in a family to attend college. Their freshman year takes a different turn when life-altering decisions threatens to halt their dreams and disappoint their families. This film shows the fun, freedom, and friendships of college life, as well as it reveals real-life scenarios facing students and the challenges they encounter when standing up to their faith. At number 4, we have The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. Former child star Gavin Stone must perform 200 hours of community service after trashing a hotel in his Illinois hometown. Temptation strikes when Stone learns that the church he's assigned to clean is staging a lavish religious production. After landing the lead role of Jesus Christ, Gavin finds himself drawn to the show's director, a young woman who also happens to be the daughter of the pastor. He ultimately discovers that the most important role of his life is far from Hollywood. At number 3, we have The Sister Act. This is a 1992 American comedy film with some very fun musical numbers. This movie is about a Nevada lawn singer named Dolores Van Cartier who witnesses her mobster boyfriend killing an employee. She is then hidden in a convent under a witness protection program where she soon makes friends with the nuns. After the Mother Superior catches Dolores going out into a bar in the night, she orders her to join the church choir, only to find her coaching the choir and turning them into swinging, singing sisters in a funky sort of way. The choir proves to be a big success with the surrounding neighborhood. Moments of fun and joy follows, and I shall say no more and leave you guys to enjoy the movie, as I would say it is a must-watch one. For number 2, we have Ben-Hur. This is a 1959 American religious epic film. Judah Ben-Hur lives as a rich Jewish prince and merchant in Jerusalem at the beginning of the 1st century. Together with the new governor, his old friend Masala arrives as the commanding officer of the Roman legions. At first, they are very happy to meet after such a long time, but their different political views ultimately separates them. Because of some very unfortunate circumstances, he sends Judah as a punishment to the galleys and throws his mother and sister into prison. But Judah swears to come back and take revenge. The battle at the sea and the chariot race are among the memorable sequences. Towards the climax, mirroring his first encounter with Jesus, Ben-Hur tries to offer Jesus water, but is beaten by a Roman soldier. Following Jesus' crucifixion, a rainstorm occurs in which Judah's mother and sister, who had leprosy at that time, are miraculously healed by the water and blood from the crucifix. In the end, Ben-Hur reconciles with his old friend. The film used 300 sets in Roman Cinecittà Studios and won a record of 11 Oscars. The film had been remade in the year 2016, but I suggest you watch the 1959 version of the film, as it is truly a wonder to watch a movie that has been made when the technology we see today did not exist, and definitely do not miss the chariot race in the film, as it is epic. Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen The Passion of Christ. If not, I suggest you give it a watch. This particular movie is a depiction of the last 12 hours in the life of Jesus on the day of his crucifixion in Jerusalem. The story opens in the Garden of Olives, where Jesus has gone to pray after the Last Supper. During his final 12 hours on earth, Christ endures extreme suffering, torture, and ultimately death in reparation for the sins of humans, only to rise from the dead on the third day. We see Jesus brutally beaten for much of the movie. We hear his flesh tear as he is whipped. So it's honest to say that this movie is not for the faint-hearted. Now, who can forget the famous comedy film Evan Almighty? Starring Steve Carell as Evan Baxter, aka Noah, is asked by God to build an ark for an imminent disaster which was upon them. When God asks him about an enormous flood, Evan, being a congressman, is told to build an ark to save all the animals and humans, despite of what his other fellow human beings thought, and he was considered pretty much crazy. Morgan Freeman plays the role of God in the movie. This movie tells us how God has planned everything for us and that we should remind ourselves that everything that has happened and is about to happen is all His plan, and we should just ride along with it. Another one of Morgan Freeman's portrayal of God happened in the movie Bruce Almighty, where he co-starred with Jim Carrey. This movie was released in 2003 and was the prequel of Evan Almighty. Jim's character, Bruce Nolan, has forever been complaining about how God hasn't been doing his job right. God then decides to give the job to Bruce. A guy who complains about God too often is given almighty powers to teach him how difficult it is to run the world. Sounds pretty funny, actually. Bruce accepts and goes on a spree using his newfound abilities for selfish, personal use until he realizes that the prayers of the world are going unanswered. The movie ends in his self-realization about what he was given and what he already had rather than what he wanted. The Chosen is a television drama based on the life of Jesus. It is the first multi-season series about the life of Jesus, and season 1 was the highest crowdfunded TV series or film project of all time. The first season introduces Jesus and the calling of his initial disciples. The second season focuses on the beginning of his public ministry and what happens as the word of his ministry begins to spread. Season 3 is now currently under funding and hopefully will be released in early 2022. Now let's get back to our list and look at the number 1 movie in our list of the top 5 movies that can enhance your spirituality and ultimately make you feel good. For our number 1 top movie, we have the all-time greatest film ever to be made, Jesus of Nazareth. Director Franco Zeffirelli's 1977 film is about the life of Christ, which begins with the wedding of Mary and Joseph and continues through the crucifixion and resurrection. Gospel accounts included in the movie also include the healing of Jairus' daughter, Jesus helping Peter catch the fish, the Sermon on the Mount, raising of Lazarus, and the Last Supper. The mesmerizing performances by Robert Paul, which I have to say, who looks very close to God in our imagination, and Olivia Hussey, among many others, leave us at awe throughout the course of this film, which I should also add lasts about 6.5 hours. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video and make sure that you spend some time watching some of the mentioned movies. Thanks for watching.